What does it mean to be strong? At its simplest conceptually, this is a question we do not actively consider, but it rules our reality every day. I believe each character I have talked about and will talk about holds not only a portion of who I am today, but a portion of who I could be. Sophia, at her root, is a journey into the soul and what strength truly means to me. I believe that there is a spirit throughout my life that has guided me when I felt at my most powerless. There were many times I thought about giving up, only I didn't. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." When Viktor Frankl, the author of Man's Search for Meaning, had his freedom torn away in Germany's concentration camps, it was Nietzsche's words that shined a light on how many of his fellow prisoners either survived or did not. So, what is that why that we hold on to that can see us through life's darkest hours? Sophia was born in the woods outside a deeply rural village where she was raised by a single mother and outcast, Elizabeth. Sophia's mother did not have much to give, so it came as a relief after years of being destitute, when a cult dedicated to a nature goddess declared that her daughter was a blessed child. Imagining that this was a sign from their deity, they took the mother and daughter in, and for the first time in their lives, it would not be a question as to where a meal was going to come from. If there was anything Sophia was certain about, it was that her mother loved her, and she loved her mother. Throughout her childhood, her mom always nurtured her joy, never missing a chance to make Sophia smile. A shadow, though, now on the fringe of the reality, snuck its way in. Something festered beneath the surface within the cult. The community never got terribly along with the nearby village, but when a group of thugs murdered several of their congregation without being brought to justice, what was once a curt relationship became a war of grievance. Soon, angry villagers, also balked by the criminal system, joined ranks with the nature cult, which was quickly warped and twisted. Beneath it all was the Shadow, a Furbolg cleric dedicated to the Lord of Death. This Furbolg, Herberos, inserted himself within the cult by murdering its leader and taking on his form through illusion. He would slowly pull one after another into the worship of the Lord of Death by fomenting strife and manipulating animosity. New cultists for this mysterious power, however, were not his primary goal. Herberos was tasked with arranging a ritual sacrifice. He would take control of the cult and then warp the mind of Sophia's mother through a powerful cursed artifact. Sophia was 12 when her mother's mind was broken and twisted. Beneath a lost temple deep within the woods, the sacrifice was prepared, and Elizabeth would be the one to perform the deed. The last image Sophia had of her mother was waking up to see a cruel, frost-covered dagger plunging for her heart when a blinding and deafening flash burst through the room. Someone tore through the complex, escaping with Sophia, and before he could be seen, he was gone. Life had become an unrecognizable nightmare. The image of her mom's maddened, zealous visage came to life in every waking moment, and not even sleep could free her. Gadford, the man who saved Sophia, was a traveling entertainer, and having known Sophia's father, had been keeping an eye on Elizabeth ever since he had learned that she had a child. Gad would become Sophia's true father figure, teaching her to play her first instrument, the guitar her father had gifted to him. Her spirit had returned, and she found someone and something to give her meaning. And so they traveled throughout the nation with her disguised as a boy named Ches. However, Herberos could not be delayed forever. Not even death by the hands of a group of adventurers could stop the relentless pursuit of his quarry. After a year together, Gadford would die in an altercation with Herberos, leaving Sophia in the hands of a foster family. She would go through many tragedies in her life, but she was always guided through by the meaning Gadford gifted to her, the joy of making others smile, and the hope that there was always something good in the world. She would one day resurrect Kokia and a group of heroes from the first video in this series. She would meet her father and family she never knew she had, escape from prison with them and the guard who'd arrested her, marry that man, and eventually defeat Herberos. Many terrible events would also transpire in that time. Her and the man she had come to love, Lawrence, had been caught in a trap by the cult of death, and there she would kill someone for the first time. This act nearly broke her, but it was the only thing that could prepare her for for her greatest trial. Herberos was not simply motivated by his service to Balthier, but also by his desire for vengeance against her father, Sanford. Herberos had once been a druid himself and a leader, but when famine came and food was scarce, it was Sanford, a simple, wandering bard, who caught Herberos hoarding rations for his family. Many within the tribe had already starved, and the discovery of this betrayal cost Herberos and his family excommunication. From being a druid, Herberos would one day discover and bind himself through oath to the will of the Lich Balthier, and his ascension with the guarantee that he would have his vengeance on Sanford. And as long as Sanford lived, Herberos could not die. Knowing this, Sanford bound himself and his life to Herberos, and to complete the oath, Sophia would have to be the one to kill them. The truth is that no one can escape the darkest realities of life without scars of the soul. Herberos accepted his vengeance only when he knew the memory of his suffering would survive in Sophia. Sophia is the personification of my hope, but also the dropping of the scales from my eyes that blinds me from the reality of suffering. It takes nothing short of a heroic effort to travel through the valley of the shadow of death and remain intact. Sophia has cameoed in every campaign I have ever ran, and have attempted to play her in several games that never finished. I used to be a little self-conscious about this, but out of all my characters, she has been the greatest gift. Seeing as I cannot get through an episode without referencing Carl Jung, I will mention this here. Jung states in his writings in the Red Book and elsewhere that a man's soul is a maiden and a woman's soul is a boy, and that while our conscious personality betrays the trappings of our sex, everything we could become is discovered through our opposite. I learned a lot about what faith and hope meant through Sophia, of the meaning of radical love. She represents an ideal that through any trial in life, no matter how painful, one can still find the courage in themselves to love the world. This is one of the hardest things a person can do because it requires more than the laziness of good feelings. It requires someone to truly see and understand evil and to love anyways. I have lost friends over deep disagreements. I, like any of us, can look out at the world's events and see an ocean of pointless suffering, and it has often threatened to make me bitter and resentful. But I have learned that it is a choice to love just as much as it is a choice to hate. I don't believe in being permissive of evil, or letting injustice go unanswered. Above all else, one should be true to oneself, to accept and express honest belief and disciplined condemnation. I do believe, however, that to damn another in your heart is to condemn your own soul. At the bottom of it all, I know each person consciously and unconsciously sees the world in their own way. They may be seemingly hopelessly caught in the illusion of self-interest, greed, wrath, resentment, dishonesty, etc. But I do not wish to join in with that darkness just because I think I am justified to feel aggrieved. To truly experience the spirit of meaning, to know that it is there and that it is something I can aim to embody every day is a blessing. Neither I nor anyone is perfect. We don't have the answers, and all we can truly do is honestly express what we believe. But while we do, we can recognize ourselves in each other's error and choose to love rather than hate. If you were here at the end to hear this, thank you. I hope my ramblings have made some sense and bring you some renewed sense of hope. Let me know down in the comments if you have a character of your own that you just cannot put down, and have they taught you anything? Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. There are more episodes to come, so stay tuned and have a great day.